welcome back to the third episode of Raw Versatility, hosted and nurtured by me, Catherine. It is a pleasure to have you back, or welcome. If it is your first time here. I am so excited to have you in this space to continue sharing my voice and vulnerability. Welcome. It has been a while since I last recorded. I recently moved back home to New Jersey after living in New York City for a year, and I was deeply depressed while I was out there. Not just because I was balancing all these new life experiences in grad school, dealing with imposter syndrome, and, all my new clinical experiences that have been draining all my energy, but I was also very discontent with where I was living. It wasn't what I was used to, and I wasn't happy out there. Now I am back home in Jersey. I'm just really, really happy to be back in Jersey because there's so many things that I have access to here that I did not while I was in the city, including the people I love most. So very happy to be back and to hopefully feel more like myself. Environments impact the way that I feel about myself and also have a huge impact on my internal state. If I'm unhappy with where I am surrounded, that reflects internally and also externally with the way that I project. So for the past months, I have been very depressed, very bitter. I just wasn't content with where I was physically. Like, I didn't want to be in New York City. I could not pour out of an empty cup. I've taken the past few months to just really nurture into myself and be able to pour into myself, fill my cup back up so that I could pour that cup outwards. This episode is going to be about therapy. Ooh, that TH word. I know that this isn't a topic that is super talked about, but I want to create the space for us to be able to talk about it because it is something that has been so impactful. It is a shame that it is so deeply stigmatized. Let's have a conversation about therapy. I thought that now would be the best time to do so because not only am I feeling more like myself now that I'm back in Jersey and surrounded by people I love, but I'm also going to begin a new journey with a new therapist. I have experience with therapy. And then I've had a year break due to inaccessibility, and now I am going to begin that journey today. I woke up so anxious. I was feeling anxious because I knew that I was going to have to meet a new therapist today. What that means for me, it means I'm going to have to open up to a new person, which is really uncomfortable, challenging, and scary. It means I am going to begin a journey supported by a professional. It means I'm going to continue the journey that I previously had. I'm just so excited to be able to fill in the gaps because when I went without therapy for a year, I was very proud of myself for implementing the things that I learned with my previous therapist, but I also wish that I would have had that support and guidance so that I could have progressed through challenges faster. Today, I want to talk about therapy and address some of the myths and also share my experience. Whether you've been to therapy before, whether you never have, whether you never think you will, I really hope that you listen to this episode and take one thing away. And even if it changes an inkling or just evokes a desire to, maybe at least do that first Google search. I encourage it and I welcome it. Let's begin by addressing the stigma. Why do people think that therapy is only for crazy people, or that it doesn't work, or it's a waste of time? These are things that we hear far too often. And in a society that doesn't value mental health the same way we do physical health, it makes sense as to why these notions spread. But not everything you hear is true. Sometimes it takes personal experience to be able to change your perspective and realize that a lot of the things that are spoken down upon can actually be the root to healing. Therapy is not just for people who quote unquote need it. If you're a human, you need it. It should be something that is common regardless of the state of your mental health. Everyone deserves to be supported. Everyone deserves to learn new things, especially about themselves. You are here in this life with yourself. Don't you think that should be the person that knows you the best? And while a lot of people are self-aware on their own, myself included, I still believe that having a relationship with a therapist could expand your growth and even accelerate it. Because as much as we are self-aware, we don't know everything. Not about ourselves, not about psychology, not about everything. There is always more to learn. The same way that we go to doctors for a yearly checkup should be the same way that we see a therapist. You could go to therapy even if your life is going great. It feels amazing to have someone to talk things with, to talk things through. It just feels so good. And for the people who feel like they need more support, even better, you could get that support. Listen, the same way that we date different people to find the fit for us is the same way that we should speak with different therapists and find one that works for you. A lot of people begin their therapy journey and they quit it because they don't like their therapist. Not every therapist is trained the same. Yes, they may have the same base and education, but it doesn't mean that they're going to interact with you the same way. At the end of the day, everyone is biased and their own experiences and perspectives play a part. Finding a therapist that you align with, that you feel comfortable talking to, that you feel like truly want the best for you, it's a journey. It has taken me like 4 therapists to find my most recent one that I ended sessions with a year ago because I graduated, so I no longer had access. It took me 4 therapists to get to her. My relationship with her and the way that she has helped me, it was just so valuable that like it was worth dating 3 therapists before then. And I'm using dating very figuratively. It is so worth meeting new people to find the one that best fits you. Because once you find that therapist that you really, really enjoy working with, growth skyrockets. Like, it is such a beautiful relationship and you really get to see how you grow because of the ways that they like support you through that growth. It has to happen when you're ready for it. I always encourage the people closest to me to, seek out the resources, try a therapist. I spoke with someone when I was in middle school. During the time, I didn't really value what it was to be supported by a therapist and to get services. So that terminated pretty early on. But I've been struggling with my mental health for over a decade. I didn't try to seek help again until I was in college after I dealt with grief and other traumatic experiences such as sexual assault, physical assault, and just a whole bunch of traumas that just accumulated in addition to my childhood and my growth and development during that time. I found a therapist, didn't like her, quit. Tried again, found a therapist, didn't like her, quit. So I found a therapist, didn't like her, quit. Tried again, found a therapist, didn't like her, quit. And so finally, when I was ready to abandon a narcissistic and abusive relationship in the middle of my college experience, that is when I sought out therapy again and found my match made in heaven. I continued therapy for the duration of 3 years and then sadly had to say goodbye to my best friend. I really looked forward to seeing my therapist all the time. Like, that was a highlight of my weeks. I had to no longer be with her because I graduated and she was a university therapist. My plan was that once I went to grad school and moved to New York, I would have to find a new therapist and begin seeking services again. But that was very difficult. I ran into a whole lot of inaccessibility issues. I was very specific about the type of therapist that I felt would best support me. I was specifically looking for a woman of color that was trauma focused. Fast forward a year later, a year without therapy and just using the tools that my previous therapist gave me and building upon that growth individually, I am now connected to a therapist and will be meeting her today. Really, really anxious. I don't know if you could hear it in my voice. I'm just kind of dreading that experience of having to open up myself to a new person again, even though ironically I'm doing it on a podcast. Vulnerability is something that I preach, but it doesn't mean that it's something that I don't struggle with. Being vulnerable is very uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to it or if you've been previously shamed out of it. So I just pray that me and this therapist work out because I am all for continuing this growth with additional support. If it doesn't work out, it's okay. That just means we weren't meant to work together. So if it doesn't go well, I would definitely continue forward in my search of working with someone. I said I was going to start talking about the benefits, and then I somehow ended up in another place in my train of thinking. So yeah, it doesn't get any more raw than this. So back to the benefits. Therapy has helped me to grow a lot individually in my personal development journey. Like I said, I'm a very self-aware person. I'm so good at recognizing patterns and just always trying to self-analyze as well as analyze the world and the people around me. There's still things that other people see that I don't because we are all so beautifully unique. And so other people have access to things that I don't necessarily see. This is why I really appreciated therapy because I would come in with like a perspective and, just reflecting and thinking about the things that I went through. My therapist would provide me new ways of thinking and reframing that I would love. Don't get me wrong, like sometimes I would like get mad because she wouldn't sugarcoat anything. Like she would be very blunt and straightforward. She felt comfortable being that way because of the relationship that we had and also the fact that like that's who she is and I respect it. Having someone to just like tell me the truth and just really give me this unbiased perspective towards things, I cherish that. In fact, like that's something that I really appreciate about people close to me that are very self-aware, because the more self-aware you are, I feel like you could help other people on their journey because you already see things and have access to depths that other people are tapping into. So yes, really appreciated her for that. Just like all the growth, all the lessons, all the reframing. If it wasn't for me being vulnerable, going through the discomfort of opening up to my therapist, I don't know if I would have accelerated in my growth the way that I did. Like that support meant so much to me. I love unlocking new insights and just contributing to this overall knowledge of myself and the world and relationships and dynamics. All these abstract things that everyone experiences, but we don't even have like language for, we're still learning about. All of that stuff fascinates me. So to have someone that I could talk about that through with and like they understand, I cherish it. Being supported really makes all the difference. My therapist taught me to stop invalidating myself and my issues. And, sometimes we do need help, and that does not make us weak. Like, you are strong if you need help and you could ask for it, because that is a courageous act. If not, more people would do it. That's the power and the beauty of vulnerability. Therapy has helped me to heal. I've been provided with so many tools, new coping strategies, new mindsets, new reframings that have really helped me just accept some things and learn to, I guess I would just say like acceptance. I think acceptance was something that I had a really difficult time doing, just surrendering to the truth, especially as a control freak. Learning to accept things and like just acknowledge and validate my experiences, like that's huge. That was something that I wasn't really offered before. So to have a space where I was learning that my feelings were valid, that meant a lot to me. And I think it has contributed to my growth as a person, because I previously struggled with very low self-esteem and a lot of negative self-talk that I no longer entertain. I think, yes, like I do still have more work to do. Of course, I'm a human. Like, we never stop growing and evolving. But I could say that a lot of the bad habits, and I don't even know if I should call it bad habits, but just like unhelpful habits and unhelpful thinking, a lot of those things I was able to acknowledge that I did, thanks to my therapist, and find ways to slowly eliminate them and replace them with better coping strategies. Therapy has provided me the place to just release. That is something that we don't really value. I mean, I journaled and would release into my journal, release into my art, release into the people around me. That goes hand in hand with vulnerability. That's something that's not valued, unfortunately. But vulnerability, we need to value it more, because a lot of people just hold things in, hold those uncomfortable emotions, don't have those difficult conversations, don't open up about things that happen to them. They just kind of suppress things and hope that they go away, not knowing that holding it in is more hurtful, because in order to heal it, you need to feel it. Whatever your mind isn't processing, your body is. A lot of the stress and pain that we feel in our bodies is attached to our emotions, specifically the emotions that we suppress. Emotions are literally physiological reactions. Like, they have to go somewhere. It's energy. Energy cannot just disappear once it's created. Therapy has taught me that it is okay to set boundaries. Boundaries was something that like I knew existed. I said I had them, but in reality, I would always yield to my people-pleasing tendencies and would put other people above myself. I think that therapy has helped me a lot on my people-pleasing and codependency journey by allowing me to reclaim my identity as an individual, a unique being that is not tied or attached to anyone else. And that's something that like we know, right? We're told these things and we hear them, whatever. We don't know because we don't fully sink into that truth. And that is something that was really hammered to me in therapy. And I appreciate my therapist for working so hard with me to understand these different things and to realize when my actions were rooted out of genuine self-love or lack of self-love. Through therapy and through self-awareness and just gaining more emotional intelligence and emotional maturity, I learned that a lot of the feelings that I had about myself were not true. They were passed down to me. They were absorbed by me. They weren't genuinely mine. And so cultivating a new relationship with myself, learning who I was outside of these other things and people and identities that I attach myself to, including my trauma, it has just been so transformative for me. If my previous therapist listens to this, I hope that you have a smile so big on your face that your cheeks are still in pain 3 weeks from now. Thank you so much for supporting me, for believing in me, for just always being there in the times when I needed support the most. Because even when there were times where I felt like I didn't need the support. I remember trying to break up with my therapist and saying like, oh yeah, I'm good. Like I know how to cope. I have all these strategies. Yep, I already love myself. Check. And I tried to break up with her. And luckily she didn't let me. And so just having that support during good days and bad, like it meant a lot. So thank you. I am looking forward to meeting my new, hopefully permanent therapist later today. And I just want to validate the discomfort I feel because it's real, it's raw, it's human, and it makes sense as to why I may feel nervous to begin this journey again, because it wasn't just, sunshines and rainbows. Like some sessions where I've had so many new breakthroughs that it was just so painful and I spent them crying. Or I had other sessions where I would just cope and make my therapist laugh all the time with my humor. I don't really know what to expect. The unknown is scary to me, but I am willing to embrace it because I love myself enough to seek help and want myself to continue growing. Like that's the best gift I could give to myself. Instead of staying stagnant and continuing patterns I don't want to entertain. So you just finished listening to the first half of this episode in which you heard my inner thoughts regarding starting therapy again with a new therapist. Now I'm going to be inserting a clip in which I reflected upon the recording you just heard and I tell you about how it has been going 5 weeks in to therapy with my new therapist. So stay tuned and enjoy. I just want to touch upon the anxiety and everything that I was feeling that's still very valid before my first session. Now I've had my 5th session with this therapist. I cannot believe I'm saying this. Not even that my old therapist could be replaced, but I was just so pleasantly surprised because I didn't expect to connect with my new therapist. Since the first session, I just knew that we were going to work out. I had a session yesterday and it really set the tone for my day. Now I really look forward to the days of the week that I have therapy, whatever day it falls on, because I know that I'm just going to feel so supported and like I could take on the world, especially when that therapy session happens in the morning. It's such a fire way to start my morning. This is me coming back to tell you that it is worth facing the discomfort of having to open up to someone, meet someone new, to try therapy, whether it's your first time or if you're just going to start with someone new. It is so worth it. Even within the past 5 weeks, I've already noticed a difference in myself, and not even that I've had a huge transformation, but now I'm being more receptive to accepting support and to being validated, which is something that I didn't really have before. I had it before, but then once I let go of therapy, I began struggling with that again. Now that I am receiving support and I'm guided, I just feel like I'm in a better place. Even though I don't have all the cards figured out, I'm in a better place figuratively because I know that regardless of what I go through, I have access to this support. I wish that therapy was accessible for everyone. I understand that it isn't. We take physical health so serious without realizing that our mental health is just as important, if not more. Your mental has such an impact on the physical. I'm just so grateful. I love my therapist. I can't wait to have therapy again, and I cannot wait for the growth that is waiting for me on the other side. That is all for this episode. I look forward to having you next time. Remember that therapy is for everyone. You deserve it. And if you have access to it, take it once you feel like you're ready to. We all deserve support on this human experience that we haven't really been prepped for. This is your first time here, to your knowledge. So, there's a lot to learn. The more you learn, the more you realize that there is to learn. So it's really just an never ending journey. So welcome to have you here accompanying me on mine. So yeah, that's all. Ciao, ciao, Mickey Mouse.